This episode is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. And while you're there, tell them I said to give you a free book. Hello, Internet Magic Man here from XIV Nation, and today we're going to take a few Final Fantasy minutes out and take a look at the character creation benchmark that was released a few days ago. So if you've probably already rolled your characters and had your fun, I'm going to take you through some of the little finer points on this, just in case you haven't had a chance to download it and get started yet, on how you can really change the settings, run your benchmark, and we'll take you through character creation a little bit. Why? Because it's the only legal video I can show you at the moment. But I do want to show you this for another reason as well. I want to ask your feedback on something at the end. I've got a little bit of a decision to make, and so I need your help. I'm a software guy by day, not a hardware guy, so you can probably tell where I'm going on this type of question. But let's get started here. We're going to take a look at the official benchmark character creation. So first off, you have two options here. You can run the actual benchmark, which if you don't know, is a pretty badass trailer. That runs a few minutes long and keeps a lovely score for you. We kind of mentioned this during the last XIV Reborn podcast. You do have the option to change your settings. So you can set the game to run at maximum, high, desktop, standard for a desktop. I'm on a desktop, so we'll be sticking with desktop settings or maximum, and you have all of your other display settings that you can go through and make some changes, turn on your anti-aliasing and your display settings. Keep a note on this right here. We're going to get back to that question I have for you guys, the internet, later. Just remember ATI Radeon HD 5800 series. Yes, I know, I'm a couple years back. I was trying to hold out until the 8000 series released, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So I've got a decision to make, and I want your help on that. And you can play the game in windowed, full screen, whatever. Now, I'm going to run this particular benchmark at full screen with 1920 by 1080 resolution, so we're going to go full, and we're going to put everything on maximum. We're going to turn everything up to high, and boom, we're going to run that. So now I can change those settings. I'm come back here and press start. Now, I'm not going to play the whole trailer for you. You guys have already seen this. But what will happen is now the trailer will queue up, start running, and I get to sit back and watch. Alright, so apparently with Fraps running, this did not want to keep my score on 1920 and 1080. I could see the scenes, but it would not keep the score at all. So, bumped it back to 1280, 720, no problem. And you can see the cutscene starts and my score starts tabulating. Now, the score, anything over 2000, according to Square Enix's key, is enough to run the game on normal settings. Now right now I'm running it on 1280 by 720 with maximum settings, well over 2000. If you get over 7000, you pretty much pass up their chart, and a lot of people are clocking in at some ridiculous numbers, and they've posted them on xivnation.com. They've posted them in reply to this week's XIV Reborn episode. Some ridiculous scores, like 19,000s. Now, my computer's never going to pump that, but it's not going to have any problem running this game at 720 on maximum, even 1920 by 1080 maximum. It doesn't have a problem running it. I just couldn't get the load screens to go with Fraps here. At the end, you'll get your little score, and there you go. You can tweet it out. So that's pretty much the benchmark in a nutshell. I'm going to cancel out of that because you can go and do that and have fun. Now, the real meat and potatoes of the benchmark is, of course, the character creation tool. Now, if you're playing on the PC or you're going to play on the PC and PlayStation 3, notice the and, you can use the character creator to roll up a character and use that in the open beta or in the official launch of the title. Now, if you're playing PlayStation 3 only, sorry, you kind of get asked out of this one. You can't create a character ahead of time. You're going to have to wait for the open beta client download to be available and go create your character once you can get into the game. Now, we're going to go through the character creator just for a few minutes so I can show you some of it. There's one aspect I'm going to get into more detail about in a different video that'll go up a little bit later this week. On XIV Reborn Episode 2, we did talk about how your character's race and your clan can impact your starting attributes and why you might want to take that into consideration. And we did talk about it briefly, but I've since then gotten some email questions asking if I would go into more detail on that, so I definitely will. We'll use the benchmark for that too. For now, we're going to skip over that and just kind of create a character. I've already got one spun up, and Elizin Duskwhite here, because this is my character. This is her. Until I decide sometime between now and launch that I don't like her, which has happened with about 4 characters already. But this is going to be my main starting character. So, I can throw her in different gear for different levels, so you can see kind of what it would look like. Can't accuse Square Enix of being a little skimpy on the armor there. Can't see one fleck of skin, let alone anything revealing. And of course, we started in the artifact gear. Once you've created your character, you can then go watch the benchmark again and watch your character actually be in the scene. So, nice little feature there. Let's go into character creation, though. Now, it's not as robust as a game like Ion. If you're familiar with that character creator, which had sliders galore and let you tweak everything, this is not that. That doesn't mean that Final Fantasy XIV's character creation is limited. I've seen some that are even more limited, but there's definitely a little bit to be desired if you're just one of those people that loves to sit there for hours and tweak every single piece of your character. Right off the bat, one of 5 races. You've got your Hyur, which is your human. Elizin, which is your elf-style character. Lalafell, which if you played Final Fantasy XI is your Taru type character. The Miqo'te, or your Mithra, if you're a Final Fantasy XI guy or girl. And the Rogadin, similar to the Galka from Final Fantasy XI. So, no gender locking, male and female options across the board. We're going to go with the Miqo'te simply because you're apparently the most popular according to Reddit. And I could change the background if I wanted to see how my character would look in some of the environments. So very cool. Now, we're going to jump in. This is the decision that we'll talk a little bit about in a video either, I don't know, tonight or tomorrow, whenever I get around to it. I do want to put it up for you since I'm getting a lot of questions about it. And I know the answers are out there already. Some other people have talked about this. I think Mr. Happy did an episode on it. And I've seen a couple different written variations on this too. But I'll do my own little video thing and visual diagram for you. We'll chat it through for those of you that have emailed me questions. I appreciate it. That's what the xivnation.com is all about. We're all a community. You want to see something on there, or if there's somebody creating something on the internet that I don't have featured there, let me know. It's not about who does what. It's about getting all the Final Fantasy XIV stuff in one place for fans of the game. So we'll talk about this clan selection and these starting attributes in that video. But for this one, we'll just leave it at each of the 2 clans has a different bit of a backstory and history, and obviously a slightly different visual appearance right off the bat. Now, I'm not going to go through every single feature here for you. I mean, you guys know what eye color is, for crying out loud. Pick an eye color and roll with it. Great. But I am going to touch on some of the preset choices and why I think, even though there's not a ton of choices, I think it's still unlikely you're going to run across too many people that have the exact same character that you do. Let's take a look first at just the face. So I've got 4 different preset options, and you may go, oh, well, there's only 4. And I agree, there should be more. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There needs to be more faces in here. But that's only step 1, because you start after that with your jaw. Now you've picked one of 4 faces. Now you're about to pick one of 4 jaws to put on that face. One of 6 eye shapes. One of 2 sizes. One of 6 noses. One of 4 mouths, lip color, facial features, which you can add all of them if you wanted to, tattoos, change the color of those tattoos, add some paint. Now yeah, buddy. No butterflies or flowers. We're going to stick with this, but we'll come back to it in a second. Now, you can see how the options kind of multiply. Yes, it's not as robust as I would like. I'm a big fan of those Ion creators. Our freedom. Ion's character creator, where I can have a slider control over just about everything. I do enjoy that, but there's so many choices here that I think you should be able to find something you like, even though it may not be down to the specific detail for those of you that love to create characters for hours. But yeah, I've re-rolled 4 times now because I wasn't happy with 1 or 2 small little things. So it'll probably happen again, and it'll probably happen to you too. Now let's do the same thing with the hair color, because let's put this face paint back on. My hair is not conducive to that, so I need something that pulls my hair back off of my face. That's it right there. And then we can change the color and throw in some highlights. Looks terrible. I would never roll with this, but serves the purpose. So again, pretty decent character creation. I've seen more limited, and it certainly fits the Final Fantasy theme and vibe. I hope more things get added in the future, more faces and things like that to choose from. Again, we still have an open beta to go, and then early access and launch, so it could even change between now and then. This, again, is just the benchmark, and while a lot of the options are here, I have a feeling we're not looking at all of them, so look for it to be a little bit different in open beta and launch. Now, on to my question that I need some help with from the internets. I'm a software guy. I do database management and software engineering, so I know my way around hardware. I know how to build a computer, all that jazz. It's no problem. That's not the issue. The issue is, I'm married. I've got 3 kids. I'd like to get a little more oomph out of my current rig here. Now, this particular rig can only handle 1 graphics card, so we're not getting fancy with any tandem cards, SLI, none of that stuff. I'm just going to go with 1 card. That's all I can fit in this particular case on this particular rig. So, you already saw earlier that I have the ATI Radeon HD 5870 is the card I have. You saw that it was 5800 series. It's the 5870. I'd like to upgrade that. And I've got it pretty narrowed down to 2 choices, and I've kind of made my selections. Obviously, budget's a factor, being married with 3 kids. But I really like Final Fantasy, and I'd like to get just a little more oomph out of it. Even though I know it's already looking great, I've played enough beta to know I love it. It runs fantastic on Macs, and I'm not worried about it. But I'd like to get a little extra oomph out of here. So here's what I need your help. I've got it narrowed down to 2. Obviously, if money was no object, I'd order myself a Titan, and we'd be fine. No big deal. That's not going to happen for about a G. So here's what I've got it narrowed down to. I'm a really big Radeon guy, and so I do like the 7950, okay? The 7950 is about $200 to $250, depending on where you catch it on the internet. And that is about... if I'm comparing it to what I have now... On most benchmarks, it's about double the performance. And the other card that I'm considering, I'm not a GeForce baby, but I'm considering going with the GeForce, let's see, what was it? The GeForce GTX 580. Now, that bad boy's a little more expensive, about $340-ish, $300 to $340-ish, so about $100 more. It's got a little more oomph compared to the $79.50, but not a lot. So that's two cards that are, I guess they're in my budget. It's not an emergency that I buy one. And I guess I'm asking you guys for your advice. So even if those two cards aren't what you would recommend for me, take a look at them if you're looking to step up. That's not a lot of money. You're talking about $200 to $250 for some pretty decent graphical output and not a lot of work as far as getting it in. So if you're not savvy on the whole graphics card things, check them out. But for those of you that are super savvy, more than me, which of those two would you go with? Or would you recommend something totally different, keeping in mind that I'm looking at about $200 to $350? That's where I've put the limits here. A nice GPU is really going to help boost your performance in Final Fantasy XIV when it launches. I've seen a lot of people with lower graphics cards getting decent scores. $100, $200 to double or triple those scores and really get some great performance. If you got the money and you're a fan of Final Fantasy XIV, why not do it? So give me your advice, Internet. Radeon HD 7950 or GeForce GTX 580. Upgrading from the HD 5870. Until next time, guys, this has been your Final Fantasy couple of minutes from Magic Man over at xivnation.com. Come and check us out over there. It's the best community site in the world. It's run by you guys, and we're all one team. I'm just kind of the guy behind the scenes posting the stuff. So if you've got people that are creating content for Final Fantasy XIV that we're not showing it, hit me up at any of the email addresses you'll see over there or on Twitter. Hit me up with a message. I'd love to feature their content and get all the Final Fantasy XIV stuff in one place for fans. Until next time, guys, stay safe, and we'll see you out on the servers.